Yippity 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 doo. It must be Saturday, so what's that mean for you? Blowing dust and fire? Yes, sirree, Bob, but worry not. The storms want to say hello to you too. Let's talk about just how much of a complicated forecast this is going to be and who may be dealing with problems as we go into early next week. And oh yeah, there's an eclipse. Let's not forget about that. In this special Saturday edition of the Texas Weather Roundup. Good morning, I'm Texas Storm Chaser's Baldy-in-Chief David Reimer. It is Saturday, the 6th of April, 2024, and we've got a lot of weather to talk about over the next several days. We're going to have an eclipse, but weather-wise, it's not really going to impact us. The weather, on the other hand, we've got a couple problems to talk about that we're going to be facing. First and foremost is, well, the fact we're going to be dealing with fires and blowing dust and wind. Let's just get into that. That'll be mostly a today and tomorrow issue, but maybe Monday as well. Today, clouds, southeastern half of the state, mostly upper-level clouds. Notice this afternoon we're going to have a broken line of thunderstorms develop along a Pacific cool front across portions of Kansas, Oklahoma. Those are going to try to meander south of the Red River a bit. Remains to be determined if they're going to have enough lift to do so, but if they do, late this evening, we could have some spotty hail and gusty winds, lightning, heavy rainfall. Highest chance of that, maybe 20 to 30% chance. Northeast Texas into the Arklatex. Could see a few showers, maybe a storm tomorrow across northeast Texas, east Texas, as that boundary shifts into Louisiana, Arkansas. The overall severe weather threat in the state of Texas, low, but not completely zero. Could see some hail, some gusty winds. On the other side of things, notice cloud cover, mostly southeastern half of Texas. Today, tonight, upper level clouds, western half of the state. It's going to be clear, warm, windy, blowing dust. Notice clouds still building in upper levels and a bit in the low levels as we go into tomorrow evening, southeastern half of the state, then starting to build northward quickly tomorrow night. Now let's take a look at the wind. You can see this afternoon it's going to be windy. Western third of the state to the western half of the state, we're going to have west winds gusting up to, at times, over 50 miles per hour. The Texas Panhandle, West Texas, there is the chance we could see wind gusts over 60 miles an hour this afternoon. Humidity values below 10%, meaning any fires that ignite, we're going to have big problems in terms of rapid rates of spread and extremely difficult controllability. Humidity values tonight into Sunday morning will not rise above 30%, allowing fires to continue to burn. And then tomorrow, we're going to have a very dry air mass behind that Pacific front, western half of the state. The winds may not be as strong as today, but they'll be out of the northwest, which is wind shifts. So we're going to have to monitor for that. We'll take a look at the fire danger ratings in just a moment. But again, eastern half of the state, we're going to have same conditions, except the winds are going to be out of the south-southeast until tomorrow evening when that Pacific front brings westerly, northwesterly winds and helps shunt the higher moisture content down towards the Gulf Coast. But unlike most of our fronts over the last 2 weeks, it's not going to take that moisture off the coast and way out into the Gulf of Mexico. We'll take a look at that in a moment. It's going to be windy next 2 days. Well, really, pretty much the next several days across state Texas. It's April, it happens. So today, blowing dust. Tomorrow, blowing dust. Western half of the state. Any fires that get going, we're going to have problems. Guadalupe Mountains, the tops of the mountains, we could have wind gusts over 80 miles an hour this afternoon into this evening. Fire weather conditions over the next few days from the Texas A&M Forest Service. Today, tomorrow, very high to extreme, top of the scale for the Panhandle, West Texas, Northwest Texas, the Big Country, the Concho Valley, the Edwards Plateau, the Permian Basin. West Texas, I can't remember if I said you, but if I did, you get mentioned twice. Congratulations. Guadalupe Mountains, Davis Mountains, the Trans-Pecos, the Big Bend, far west Texas, into the Borderland, the El Paso region. Then on Monday, notice that threat generally shifts a bit further west. The dry line's going to be further west. We're going to have more moisture eastern two-thirds of Texas. And then as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday, we're going to see precipitation chances expand into the Panhandle, West Texas, parts of the Permian Basin, Big Country, Concho Valley, Northwest Texas, with lower fire danger ratings. But then we're going to be dealing with the other side of Mother Nature's temper tantrums called spinny doom issues, plus hail, wind, and flooding. It's April. We get to talk about a lot of things, and I don't get to sleep. Can you tell I'm caffeinated? All right, let's talk about the eclipse. Yes, I know everyone cares about the eclipse. Yes, it's going to be mostly cloudy across most of the state. And a few hours after the eclipse, our focus, and probably some of yours as well, is going to shift to severe weather because some of you are going to be getting hit with hail, wind, and if we're quite unfortunate, we're going to have tornado issues Monday night into Tuesday morning because tracking tornadoes at 2 a.m. is exactly what I want to do after a solar eclipse. It's really not, but Mother Nature's going to do what Mother Nature's going to do. And let's be honest here, I kind of figured this was going to be a thing years ago, but I was optimistic, and that optimism has failed me. All right, here's the latest cloud cover trends using a blend of data, the national blend of models. This just gives a decent way to look at it. You can see we're still expecting a pretty high percentage of cloud cover across the path of totality across the state of Texas. There's a little optimism, though, that we didn't have yesterday morning. We'll talk about that in a minute. Best chance for mostly clear skies. Northern half of Arkansas, Boot Hill, Missouri, southern Illinois, Indiana, into portions of northwest Ohio, into Vermont, New Hampshire, and New England. I'm not going to New England, and probably I'm not even going to get to go out and look at the eclipse because I'm going to have to be in this office for severe weather potential a couple hours after the eclipse, and that's going to be a little difficult if I'm stuck in traffic. So, yay. All right, let's take a closer look here. Same data, just a closer look. You can see places like Del Rio, oh, sweet mama mercy, Del Rio, Eagle Pass, down towards Laredo, all the way up into the hill country, is going to be very cloudy. Upper level clouds, probably low level clouds. You're not going to see the eclipse in all likelihood. It's going to get dark, that's for sure, but you're not going to actually see the eclipse. Northern portions of the state, Central Texas, North Texas, Northeast Texas, and the Arklatex. Now, in all likelihood, we are going to have upper level clouds. The question here is how far north or low-level clouds are going to be, and will we have any breaks in the clouds? Some high-resolution weather model data is giving some hope we may actually have some breaks in the clouds with lower cloud coverage across portions of North Texas and Northeast Texas. But that is really just going to be something we're going to have to wait and see until we're within hours, unfortunately. So don't go basing your plans off this and the low chance that we might actually have some breaks in the clouds. If you're planning on traveling further northeast for a higher chance of clear weather, I would maintain those plans. Don't go changing them. That being said, if we can just keep upper level cirrus and keep some of these low clouds, especially north of Interstate 20, south of Interstate 20 until after the eclipse, we may actually have some modest viewing conditions. That being said, low clouds are going to be streaming north very quickly, and it is entirely plausible, if not probable, this whole area is going to be socked in with clouds for the eclipse on Monday. And we'll talk about why in just a moment. In fact, I'll show you why. We'll do this first. I changed my mind. Here's the global forecast system. This is a measure of surface dew points. Those bright greens, bright blues, that's tropical moisture. Surface dew points in the upper 60s to low 70s, which you'd get in the summer months typically. Notice that encompasses the entire path of totality by early Monday afternoon. Notice that we see that dry line move west to east Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening, and slowly pushes east with a Pacific front by Wednesday morning, though that's a faster solution. It may take until Wednesday night. The reason I mention all this is, well, that's where a lot of the cloud cover is going to be. Also, as this restarts, you can see how quickly that boundary moves north on Monday. Pretty much, if you're in that tropically moisture-rich zone, especially north of Del Rio to San Antonio to Corpus Christi, all the way up to the Red River. So, the eastern half of Texas, along north of I-10, pretty much all the way to the Red River, Oklahoma, Arkansas. We're going to have issues with storms. Late Monday afternoon, Monday night, all of Tuesday, at least the first half of Wednesday, if not continuing past Wednesday. So, keep that in mind for your after-eclipse plans. And I'm not talking just about, lightning, thunder. I'm talking true severe storms, hail, wind, tornado threat, flooding, because again, Mother Nature couldn't let us have something nice. All right, here, let's go take a look at severe weather outlook. And I purposely did not show you a simulated radar of that. Model data is still pretty uncertain in terms of the exact mesoscale features where everything's going to set up. We're still about 12 hours of a timing difference in model data land by the time we get to Wednesday. So again, as we are able to get closer to this, we'll be able to narrow down corridors of higher severe weather potential, narrow down or at least become more specific on threat levels. As it stands, you can see for Monday, we now have quite a large area of scattered severe thunderstorm potential, isolated to scattered severe thunderstorm potential, including the Edwards Plateau, the Concho Valley, the Big Country, parts of West Texas, Northwest Texas, Texoma, North Texas, Central Texas, the Hill Country, the Brazos Valley, Southeast Texas, East Texas, Northeast Texas. If you want to draw a corridor, let's just say along and east of a line from Childress to Midland to, honestly, Fort Stockton to Del Rio to Eagle Pass to Laredo, all the way east to Arkansas and Louisiana. So a lot of the state. Now, we're going to have to get closer. We need to see how things are going to set up. But initially, thunderstorms may get more rowdy and develop not long after the eclipse. We do believe it will hold off until after the eclipse. Let's just say 3 to 4 p.m. is the starting time. We'll narrow that down as we get closer. This whole area. And because of a northward moving warm front, this isn't going to be a typical situation where storms, fire on the dry line across the western periphery of this risk zone and just move east. We could have storms developing in spots across this entire region, what's called open warm sector development. We're also going to have a northward moving warm front. That will be moving from south to north. That was that moisture line I was talking about. As that moves north, more of this area will become entrenched in that warm sector, an unstable air mass in the presence of strong wind shear. As we get into the late afternoon, early evening hours, the strongest storms could be producing baseball-size hail. Not all storms are going to be producing baseball-size hail. We could also have strong winds and heavy rainfall. As we get into the evening and overnight hours, this threat will continue. This will not be an event where things die down during the evening hours. This threat, especially across portions of the Big Country, North Texas, Northeast Texas, Texoma, may continue a majority of the night. And the tornado threat may increase as low-level winds ramp up and we see an increase in low-level wind shear. So there may be a threat of nocturnal tornadoes Monday night. We're going to have to keep a very close eye on it. And again, as we get into the weekend, we'll be able to narrow this down to a more specific time frame and regional location. That being said, clearly, we got a pretty large area of ouchies potential here that we're going to have to keep an eye on. It's not a guarantee you're going to have severe storms in your immediate area. This scattered severe thunderstorm potential, that level 2 risk, that means you have about a 15% chance of a severe storm within 25 miles of your location. So about 1 in 5 to 1 in 6. That level 1 zone, that's about a 5% chance. So about a 1 in 20 chance of a severe storm within 25 miles of your location. Again, a severe storm means quarter-size hail or larger, damaging winds at 58 miles an hour or higher, or tornadoes. Heavy rainfall is also going to be an issue with this, especially as we get into Tuesday. Speaking of Tuesday, here's the severe weather outlook for Tuesday. Pretty much the exact same region is going to be under the gun. Again, this is because an upper-level storm system is going to pretty much be trapped overhead, meaning we're not going to see much movement in the synoptic upper-level features or the surface pattern, meaning we're still going to have moisture just being pushed inland from the Gulf of Mexico. That's going to keep the atmosphere unstable, even in the presence of thunderstorms, because we're going to have southeasterly winds in the low levels. That's going to keep the moisture flowing in. It's essentially an unlimited supply of gasoline for storms, meaning the atmosphere is going to be tropical-like, unstable, even with thunderstorms underway. It's going to be humid. It's not going to be particularly nice out. As we get into Tuesday afternoon, we're going to see if there's ongoing storms, they're going to get more rowdy. If we're going to see new storms, could have, again, all modes of severe weather possible. Large hail, damaging winds, at least a low tornado threat. Heavy rainfall will also result in an increasing flooding threat, especially across North Texas, Northeast Texas, East Texas, where we're expecting multiple rounds of heavy thunderstorms. And again, once we get closer to this, we'll be able to narrow it down. We'll be able to narrow it down once we know more about Monday, because that'll help us set the stage for Tuesday. And, we're probably going to see some risk level upgrades as we get closer to this event. But that doesn't guarantee you're going to have issues at your specific location. And again, we'll refine all this as we get closer. But clearly, we're setting the stage for a multi-day severe weather and heavy rainfall flooding event across at least the eastern half, if not the eastern 2/3 of the state of Texas. Wednesday morning, storms continue Tuesday night to Wednesday morning. We may have a pretty heavy cluster of storms by Tuesday night. That would likely be a wind threat, maybe some hail, maybe a few tornadoes, but heavy rainfall for sure with flooding. And then Wednesday morning, maybe Wednesday afternoon, that threat continues across the Arklatex, Northeast Texas, East Texas, Southeast Texas, the Golden Triangle around Beaumont, before moving out of the state into Arkansas, Louisiana. But even though the threat for severe storms will probably be coming to an end on Wednesday, we may still have precipitation continue in the state of Texas through Thursday. Yeah, we got a lot to deal with. So again, welcome to spring, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be busy. And again, once we're getting into the range of high-resolution weather model data, which is typically about 2 to 3 days, I'll be able to start showing you some simulated weather model graphics like radar, instability, that will narrow down the corridors of highest severe weather potential, the corridors of highest heavy rain potential, thunderstorm timing, etc. But this is going to be a good time for you to make sure you have the free Texas Storm Chasers mobile app, because you can look at your neighborhood, see when the highest chance of rain is, interactive weather radars, notifications with these new daily videos, and written blog posts. We do actual written articles in conjunction with these videos, with the graphics, and of course live severe weather coverage. So just search for Texas Storm Chasers in your device's store where you download apps. And again, you can subscribe to us at Texas Weather Center on YouTube as well. All right, here's the forecast rain totals from the Weather Prediction Center today through 7 a.m. Thursday. And again, the chance outside of a couple maybe showers and storms tonight to Sunday across Northeast Texas and East Texas, a majority of this will fall, if not all of it, late Monday afternoon through Thursday morning. The potential for 3 to 5 inches of rain with higher amounts possible. North Texas, Northeast Texas, the Arklatex, East Texas, into Southeast Texas. The flooding threat will increase by Tuesday and continue through Wednesday and probably Thursday. The potential for 1 to 4 inches of rain, Texoma, DFW Metroplex, down towards Waco, Killeen, Austin, through the Brazos Valley. The potential for a 1/4 inch up to maybe 2 inches of rain. The Panhandle, parts of West Texas, Northwest Texas, the Big Country, the Hill Country, the Coastal Plains, and then by the time we get down into the Permian Basin, the Concho Valley, the Edwards Plateau, we're looking at about a few hundredths of an inch of rain up to maybe a 1/4 to 1/2 inch of rain in luckier spots. And if this ends up shifting further west and slows down, which it may, that will be expanded further west. So with that in mind, the threat for wildfires probably going to continue in parts of the Borderland, the Big Bend region, and the Permian Basin well into next week, because they're going to miss out on rain, it looks like, for the most part. Okay, let's look at temperatures the next few days. For what it's worth, we're not looking at any big cool downs with this system. Because of the onshore flow with this, it's going to be warm and humid. No big Arctic cold fronts, at least for several days, if, the duration of this. Today, highs, 60s, Panhandle, West Texas, the Borderland, far West Texas, around El Paso, 57 in the top of the Guadalupe Mountains, with wind gusts up to 90 miles an hour. Yippity-doo. Highs otherwise across the state, 70s, 80s, and then the hottest locations, the Edwards Plateau down into the Rio Grande Plains, Rio Grande Valley, 90s. Sunday, we're looking at 70s and 80s statewide. Monday, if you're wondering if the clouds are going to impact the eclipse temperatures let's rephrase that. If the eclipse is going to impact temperatures at all, no. Maybe 2 degrees cooler during the actual totality of it all, but the cloud cover is going to act as a blanket. We're going to have very strong warm air advection. That's going to offset the temperature decrease, just like it would if it was the middle of the night and we had this same exact setup. That's just how it's going to be. It's going to be like night for a couple hours. An hour or two, really. But no, temperatures by Monday afternoon, 70s and 80s in the eastern half of the state, eastern two-thirds of the state, 90s, Edwards Plateau, Rio Grande Plains, deep south Texas, 70s, Panhandle, West Texas, Borderland for West Texas. It's going to be windy, humid across the eastern half of the state. Definitely, it's going to feel like a severe weather day. Now, Tuesday, we are going to have some cooler temperatures arrive with the increase in cloud cover, rain, but still, it's going to be warm. Eastern two-thirds of the state, 50s in the Panhandle, West Texas, so yeah, a bit cooler with clouds, 70s everywhere else except the Edwards Plateau, the Hill Country, South Texas, the Rio Grande Plains, Rio Grande Valley, where we'll have 80s and 90s. Okay, and then as we get into Wednesday, you can see, yeah, it's a bit cooler, northern half of the state, highs generally in the 60s, 70s across East Texas, Central Texas, the Brazos Valley, the Concho Valley, back into the Borderland, far West Texas. Along the immediate Texas Gulf Coast, it's still in the 80s, 90s deep South Texas, the Rio Grande Valley. So again, yeah, it goes without saying it's going to be busy. But, well, that's what we're here for. We'll be here for it. We'll have storm chasers out and about on Monday night, Tuesday, and Wednesday, assuming our chasers aren't stuck in the middle of a traffic jam after the eclipse on Monday. I will be here in the weather office Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, doing severe weather coverage as necessary. It will be necessary, with weather updates throughout the event. We'll have a live stream going to satellite data during the eclipse with cloud cover. And yeah, we'll be here keeping an eye on it. It's going to be an interesting week, but we'll keep you updated through it. Hope you will tune in. And don't forget, hit that big subscribe button here on Texas Weather Center so you're informed of new videos. Same thing goes if you're in the Texas Storm Chasers mobile app. Make sure you have those notifications enabled. All right, that's it for your Saturday morning update. We'll try to have updated eclipse graphics posted this afternoon and this evening. And we'll probably get those on the community tab for the YouTube channels, social media. You'll see them as you typically do, and I'll put them in a written article over on the website and app. So that's it for your Saturday Texas Weather Roundup. Probably the longest weather roundup I've ever made, but hey, you know what? Y'all asked for it. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Angry Bird says hello. Have a good Saturday. God bless.